What's the worst piece of financial advice somebody has given you? When my mom said that she will hold my money for me as a kid. My grandfather was pretty wealthy and gave us $50 to $100 each birthday. My mom kept it safe for us. I'm pretty sure she used it at least once to pay the light bill when the power got shut off, so at least it went to good use. Never saw a dime of it myself. At least you technically paid the power bill then. My cousin bought a camper, went camping once, and then decided camping wasn't for them. Rather than selling it, they decided to just stop making the payments and let the bank come and get it, which, eventually, they did. No advice here, but they seemed to have it on lock. So when I was 24, I was financially struggling. I had a job that worked me a lot of hours, but only paid me $10 an hour. My parents talked me into buying a brand new 2004 four-door Honda Civic. The pre-interest price tag on it was about $25,000. A few weeks after getting it, my hours got regulated, and it took one entire paycheck to make the monthly note on it. I could not afford the insurance on it. I very quickly realized my parents were bad at money. I think that's one of the hard things to swallow when it comes to growing up. Your parents might be shitty with money. I ignored a lot of my parents' financial advice and am so glad I did. They both made decent money, but borrowed against their house, bought cars they didn't need, and paid for other ridiculous things. They basically lived paycheck to paycheck. Being in my early teens and opening the front door to a bailiff/high court enforcer is definitely a low point in my childhood. But damn, did it give me a massive preemptive sign to never listen to mum's financial advice. It's hard and sucks, but the sooner someone comes to terms with a parent who's awful at financial stuff, the better their own finances will be. My aunt took me to a car dealership when I was looking to buy my own first car. I was looking at the clunkers I could afford, but she said I should be looking at the new cars. She said, the total price doesn't matter because you make monthly payments. I suddenly understood too well why she had always been so financially unstable. I had a car dealer say this to me once when I asked the price on a 4 to 5 year old car. The actual price doesn't matter. It's the monthly payment that you really need to know. Had her good mate, but cheers anyway. I walked away wondering how does he possibly sell any cars that way. But after reading this sub, maybe I'm wrong. I know a shocking number of people who are spending only 25-40% of their take-home pay servicing a finance deal on a shiny car, and when that expires, they'll get a new one. My Phil, when I mention our retirement plan, I never contribute to my retirement account. Money now is always better than money later. I needed to have a conversation with my husband how we would not be supporting his mom and dad in their insane spending when they have no retirement plan and make huge financial mistakes on a weekly basis. Good news is they both make good money. Sounds like someone who was taught ROI once and has misapplied it ever since. I wish it was that simple. I love my in-laws, but they are just doing the best they can with what they have. They had their first child at 15. My husband at 17. Another child that passed away from a drug overdose, and their youngest is now 19. They are constantly in survival mode and now have custody of their 3 oldest grandkids. They have a slew of health issues and honestly can't see the future more than a month out, so planning for retirement doesn't cross their minds. Money slips out of their hands as fast as they earn it, but they do mean well. Spend it quickly or it'll get stolen. Coming from someone with a history of losing and blowing their money, or not even stolen. Folks who've never had enough to get by comfortably have a little imp on their shoulder telling them to spend it now, or it'll just go to next month's rent, and you won't get to enjoy anything nice with this cash. I knew a guy who had a great job, but never saved any money. One day he was randomly telling me how he saved up $10K in his savings account, and accidentally told his mom that after that his mom scolded him on why he was doing nothing with that money and he needs to go out and spend it. He said he realized he was being stupid, his words, and he closed that account and spent it immediately. I asked if that sounded like a bad plan. Like what if an event came up where he needed cash for a rainy day or something, and he said something along the lines of that he can always get a job and make money, but while he makes money he should enjoy it. Wasn't sure what to say to him from there. but was impressed at not only the mindset, but also how it seemed to be taught to him by his parents not to ever save money. That an emergency fund wasn't necessary when you can always get a payday loan or use your credit card. He wasn't joking. Somebody needs to book this man's act. He knows how to generate interest. A relative tried to recruit me into Amway. He wound up stuck with a garage full of their products. My mom joined and ended up having to buy their junk continuously. They also promised to pay her. She never saw a dime from them. Awful. Cult-like. One of my uncles once told me that I never really had to pay my phone bill. He suggested that I simply jump to another carrier and let the first company cut you off. His life has turned out exactly as you'd imagine. I used to know a guy whose family had always told him, while he was growing up, that the air was free. He was getting his mail sent to his family home for years as an adult. One day he needs to buy a car and guess what? His credit is trashed. Family threw away his medical bills the same as they did this. The worst part is now I know the biggest hospital in our area has a very liberal charity program. You can get 100% of your bill dropped if you are uninsured and make under $30 to K. Basically this whole guy's family would qualify for that program if they just did a little bit of paperwork rather than just throw away bills. My now girlfriend told me about that when I was in with a broken pelvis and they forgave my whole $77K stay because I worked at the Y and made like $9 an hour. I would have never won otherwise. Hold on to those French francs. They will be worth a lot someday. I'm not holding my breath. Well, they probably will be eventually. In about 1000 years they may sell for something good at auction if well preserved. You'll be quids in. Only if well preserved and rare. If a bunch of people keep a lot of them well preserved, no one will care about them. Once you cut up the credit card, you don't have to pay it. Apostrophe. My cousin is not doing so hot. I'm pretty sure there are warrants out for his arrest in several states. Spend whatever is in your bank account the day before payday. You obviously don't need it. That's what a savings account is for. Take out a 401k loan to build a pool. It will raise the value of your house. Apostrophe. At least you wind up with a wicked ducking pool lol. I've lived on my own since I was 17. I bought a car and worked my butt off to pay it off. It needed new tires, so I called my mom to ask her how to go about it. I literally didn't know tires had sizes for Pete's sake! Exclamation mark. She told me to just go trade it in for a new car, and I dicking listened to her. I traded a paid off 5-year-old car because it needed new tires. You guys. Out of curiosity, when did it finally hit you that you made a huge mistake? And also, how hard did it hit you? I knew I made a mistake when I realized how badly it hurt to pay car payments again. I was struggling to eat and had to keep dumping money into replacing my door frame because my house got broken into all the time. Again, I was 17 and was literally just trying to make it back and forth to work. I knew having a car was all that was keeping me from starving, so I did what she said, because she knew only how to keep moving, not necessarily how to get out of the maze, you know? Just get another credit card. My friend who hasn't worked in 3 years and is currently just vibing with his new credit cards he somehow got approved. 4. A friend's family taught them to take out as many store cards and credit cards as they could, and as long as the minimum was paid, they'd be able to live a luxurious lifestyle. They were almost $100k in debt when they finally told me, from dozens of cards and interest, car loan, etc. Then did not want to discuss it further after I offered advice, lawyer, counseling. It's simply how their parents lived. Life on credit far beyond means. I could not live with that stress. It's so normal for some people though. Edit. Sorry I can't reply to everyone. I got like 100 responses and messages. If anyone is concerned about excessive debt, I strongly recommend the folks over at r/personalfinance who are experts at this sort of advice. For those in extreme debt, a bankruptcy attorney should be consulted to work out a repayment plan in court. This comment makes me break out in hives. I would never be able to sleep with that kind of stress. 1976 San Francisco. Keep renting. No one will ever pay $35. $1,000 for a 2-bedroom house and garage with a sweeping view of the East Bay. Added later, I went back to visit the old neighborhood a few years ago. Those $35,000 stucco homes up many flights of steps perched on the top of Potrero Hill were now all gentrified, remodeled, gated, and asking $1M plus, and that was 5 years ago. And now you live on Maui. Yes, moved to Maui in mid-1976 and kept renting. In those days it was sweet, friendly, uncrowded and not too expensive. My rent was $700 MO for 3-2-bay house and garage with a fenced yard in a nice neighborhood. It wasn't until 2000 I could finally afford to buy a house here in the days when they gave loans with no stated income to self-employed people. And that was only after I'd gotten a real estate license. I was one of the few to survive the Great Recession and come out the other end with my credit intact. Today on Maui the median price for a single family home is $825,000 for $500,000, and below there are a few really decayed shacks. The sweet spot is $2 to $4 million range. About once a month a home sells in one of the resort areas for over $10 million. The buyers are the mega rich who are mostly only going to live here to vacation, and it does not make the local population feel warm and fuzzy. When I got to university and opened a student current account, I received an interest-free overdraft of about $1,200. I wasn't entirely sure of what that meant. My brother informed me, so that's like your new zero, and encouraged me to use it to buy a new gaming PC. For the next few years I really wish I hadn't taken that advice. He's never been too amazing with his money, so I should have seen that one coming. Unfortunately we have to learn the hard way sometimes. I maximumed out a credit card once because I was like, damn, this is like never ending free money. Boy did I feel dumb as duck when my card was declined in a McGill Jr. drive-thru. Can you explain the psychology behind this? I know it's really common, but I never understood it. Weren't you nervous about interest? Did you know they charge interest on credit card debt? Don't worry about a career. Armageddon will come before you finish high school. My parents, Jehovah's Witnesses, being raised a JW really stunted my social and emotional growth. And them saying shit like college is a waste because you're learning worldly things and the end is coming soon, blah blah blah. Cunts. Going to college will corrupt you. Well, I went and then was disfellowshipped. So I guess they believed they were right. Ended up having a good career, though. Glad I didn't listen. I got $90 and my 11-year-old son told me I should buy $90 worth of kazoos. No real plan past that. Probably among the better pieces of advice on this thread. To be fair, you could probably flip them all for 100. Put it all on black. Only bad advice half the time. Edit. I know how roulette works, I just felt like only using 6 words. Did this with a friend and came up 0-0. I started walking away not realizing I got half my wager back. Went to dinner. Afterwards we went back and put it on black again and won. So no win, no loss. Rather anticlimactic putting it all on black twice and breaking even. Don't invest in a 401k. Luckily, I didn't listen. Yup, my husband was told not to because his job doesn't match, but 15 years later it's over 80k, so I don't call that a bad choice at all. Edit. While I love all condemnation of this, please understand that everyone does things differently. I don't care if you make 127k in your 401k every year. You don't have to put down others. We're good. We will be good and have other assets that when liquefied will set us for retirement. Edit. The bottom line is that for some people saving money is hard. This is at least something. Also, I advise anyone to go to a banker, financial planner or financial lawyer for investing advice instead of a Reddit thread. Edit 3. This was not an argument/discussion about retirement products or options. The simple point I was making is that 80k is better than 0. This wasn't really their fault, because none of us, least of all 20-year-old me lol, could have predicted the fallout from the recession. I was in college when it hit, about halfway through a bachelor's degree. We're not rich, and I was paying for it with loans on a semester-by-semester basis. Friday, you could get a loan. Then suddenly by Monday you couldn't. Anywhere. Friends were dropping out left and right, unable to come up with the money for the next semester. That's when my parents gave me the worst financial advice I'll probably ever get. Take on a 25k private student loan with a variable interest rate of 11%. The logic was, we'd refinance it right after college. Simple as that. We didn't predict. I don't know if they should know. It's whatever. That private student loans would be intershareable. Vouchable. No one would refinance it, and I was trapped with this absurdly high interest loan. Every year I'd try once, maybe twice, be twice, and I was always rejected for having too bad a debt to income ratio. The payments, plus the payments of my other loans, were too high to make anything but the minimums, which went straight to interest. It was like I'd hanged myself, but misjudged the length of the rope, and could just barely skate my toes on the ground and keep me alive. Barely. It took years to get out from under it. In the end, some 8 years later, we made the final payment. On a 27k loan I paid an additional 23k in interest at a 13% rate. Edit. Dang, woke up with that pregnancy bladder. Thanks everyone. So happy to have things to read while I can't sleep lol. A quick update. I'm in a great place now. Funnily, if it weren't for college and all this, I'd never have met my husband, who ultimately would convince me to change careers into software engineering and support me doggedly while I changed careers and turned the tables on my debt. It's no exaggeration, he saved my life. It's funny, I make more money now than I ever would have as a professional cook, and as far as the tech industry is concerned, not formally educated. I have about 25k left at a reasonable fixed 5%, and I think I'm going to pay it off this year. Just in time for the baby, who is getting a fund for college/life before the damn cord falls off. This one hurt the most to read. It was so frustrating. It's like, they'll give you all the rope you want to hang yourself, but if by chance your neck doesn't snap and you manage to survive the fall, now suddenly you don't make enough money and now your debt to income ratio isn't good enough. I choked on that loan and the others for 5 years before getting it under control. But lessons learned. Life moves on. I'm doing really well, all things considered. Join my MLM and make lots money. No. Anytime I hear this crap from a friend, it's the last time I ever speak to them. So true. I had a best friend try from high school sell me his MLM once. After I had blocked him on social media, I still got phone calls from him. I had to get a restraining order. I think the guy had issues. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.